crazy day. It's been snowing since 11 o'clock last night. There's snow absolutely everywhere. I'm going to show you in a minute. Today we're going to start putting together all the elements for a log burner. We're going to install the log burner in the corner of this room. All of these boxes are full of all the pipe work and all the technical stuff that we need. I've got some beautiful tiles that are waiting to go on, and Joe should be arriving any minute to start doing the tiling. And all the equipment's cost me an absolute fortune, nearly €1,000. It's taken me a while to organise all of that, but I'm so excited that this is getting forward. And yeah, let's see how it looks when it all goes in. Right now I've just got a plain corner. We've already pre-prepared the ceiling area with Fireproof plasterboard, and we're going to redo some of the insulation as well on the inside because we've got a sandwich panel steel roof with polystyrene filler inside. We need to take that out, put some more Fireproof insulation. All of that technical detail I'll let you know as I go through, but first let's get outside, run around and enjoy the snow. Oh, it's been really nice few days, last 2 weeks, been really warm and sunny, and then last night it started snowing. We've probably got 20-30 centimetres. Yeah, pretty good. All the nature here has really benefited from 2 weeks of warm weather. Frogs are all hopping around in the road, starting reproducing, loads of buds on all the trees. Everything's coming to life, so this is a bit of a shock out of the blue, but next week it's going to be warm again, and this is probably the last hit before the spring really kicks in. But yeah, this is great. Massive, good, sticky snowballs. Ah! Yeah.
Mais ça va, et puis là, il va falloir que je les recoupe. Bonjour. Peut-être reculer tout à l'heure à l'entrée avant qu'il fasse nuit. Okay. Après, je ne vais rien voir pour reculer. C'est vrai. C'est... Ouais. 57 ans.
Ouais.
Pour leur chaîne qui bascule pas d'un seul coup. Voilà. Je le trace comme ça, il faut qu'ils soient comme ça. Un peu plus droit comme ça.
Un peu plus là.
Là, je perce comme ça. Voilà.
Un peu plus comme ça.
Comme ça.
Oui, c'est mieux.
Tu surveilles. On voit le jour.
Oh félicitations.
Décalé. Ah merde, j'ai pas pris le feu. J'ai pris mon crayon de papier. Mais...
J'arrive. Si je jette.
Voilà. T'as de l'eau là? En train de brûler déjà. Bouteille d'eau. Tu me le passes dans le bon sens, hein?
Oui. Enfin, juste, j'ai peur qu'on va l'abîmer. Ok.
Vas-y, pousse encore. Encore un peu. Ouais, il faut au moins ça.
Oui, tu as peut-être un autre 5. Ok, tu la tiens? 5 cm. 1,50 m entre le haut du poêle.
Le plus grand, il fait 1,50 m?
Voilà. Non, 1 mètre.
1 mètre, mais puis les petits bouts, ils font 50?
Ouais.
C'est du poil, là.
C'est pas très droit. C'est ça le problème. Je tiens et tu veux venir à l'intérieur ou pas?
Non, non, mais moi je vois bien du dessus, hein, là, on est complètement, on est devant, on est trop devant. On va qu'on soit beaucoup plus bas. On le voit un peu la saleté qu'il y a sur le pneu. À mon avis, il va falloir qu'on avance au moins de 5 cm. Hein.
Bon. Tu veux que je mette le...
Non, mais on verra après. Mais...
Okay, so if you're thinking of installing a log burner in your cabin, you should take professional advice. I'm using a professional installation kit which is essentially an insulated tube. So this part has got 2 layers with insulation inside. And this insulated tube is going through the roof section. I'm going to cut out the mousse, which is polyurethane mousse, which is in between the roof panels. I'm going to cut it out all the way around. And we're going to fix this to the ceiling using this attachment. Comes out the other end, it is going to have a hat, like this, goes on here, so that stops the rain coming in. And all around this pipe, within the hole in the roof, we're putting this fireproof material, which came with the kit. And then once it comes into the room, I've got 2 normal steel tubes, looks like that. This one's telescopic, so you can adjust it, which means for cleaning it out, you can unscrew it and put a chimney sweep attachment straight up the chimney. You don't need to take the log burner apart. And as we get through the roof itself, then we're going to use this, which essentially you cut it round to the right width of your pipe, and then it goes over the top of the pipe and it stretches, and then this bit, it fits. You can mould it to fit the ridge in your roof. Ideally you want this to sit really in the middle of a ridge line. We haven't been able to achieve that, unfortunately. It's just not physically possible unless we're going to have the log burner somewhere else in the room, which we can't really do. We've got very limited space, so we're going to have it slightly offset on a ridge, and then you screw that into the roof with sealer using these special fixing screws. And what else? Yeah, you've got this, which basically makes the transition between the 2 different types of pipes, insulated to non-insulated. So that's the kit. The log burner is a second-hand Godin log burner. Godin is a French brand. It's iron, so it's basically a bit rusty right now. So it looks pretty old and not very nice right now because it's been sat in a garage for about 15 years. It'd be good to get that back to life, and if I was going to buy a brand new log burner, I'd probably be looking at something in the region of 2,500–3,000 euros to get the same quality, and I've paid 400 euros for it, so it needs a bit of TLC. So all in all, so all the pipes and the fixtures and the accessories have cost me 800 euros and log burner 400. And if I'd gone to a local shop here and asked somebody to do it, from professional companies come in and do it entirely, and they'll only do it if they can sell you the log burner as well, and typically the prices start around 5,000 or 6,000 euros. So yeah, I'm doing what I can with the budget that I've got.
C'est lequel qui est télescopique? Celui-là déjà correctement. Bon, ça a l'air d'être emboîté. Attends, je vais le sortir, on va taper un peu s'il faut.
We've been fiddling around with bits of tube for I don't know how long. We finally managed to get it to all fit together. It's really a big jigsaw puzzle. We're going to have to cut a bit, but otherwise it should work. Let's hope. Only slight question is, visually it doesn't look like the hole is in the right place, which is really odd because Joe did measure it with his laser, so it should be in the right place. But visually it just doesn't look like it's in the right place at all, so if we have to, we've got a bit of margin, we'll be able to widen it a bit and it'll still be covered by the protection, but yeah, it's not looking good, and it's getting dark again.
Bus. Vas-y, c'est de l'emboîter toi. vachement haut, hein.
Right, so what we're going to do now is the log burner itself. It should come up much closer to black, but it's going to take a few steps and a bit of work to get there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently polish it with this brush, which you can buy in your local hardware store. Then I'm going to clean it with some metal cleaner, which is basically alcohol, which just takes off any grease and residue and gets rid of any rusty dust. I'm going to attempt to polish this, which I believe is a brass little symbol, which is the mark. I think that should come up quite nicely. I've just got some brass polish. And then at the end I'm going to finish it with a log burner polish. Look at that. It's come up really blingy. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's come up much better than I thought. The polish is really good. It says on the packet that basically at the end of the heating season, so at the end of the spring, early summer, then you should retreat it every year, which will protect it when it's not being heated. But once it's being heated, it should be self-protecting in the sense that the heat will stop the rust anyway. But yeah, really delighted with it. I was a bit worried, let's just say, when we brought it in and it looked really rusty in amongst a very modern setting. I thought, oh, I've made a mistake. I wanted to go for a bigger log burner rather than a smaller one. I know this is a tiny space, but I live with wood heating at home, and the small, really mini ones, you end up having to cut the wood really small all the time, and I'm used to having a decent amount of width here to be able to get a reasonable amount of wood in. And I also wanted something that you could put a kettle or a pan on the top, because then you've always got a backup in terms of if the gas stops working and it's the winter, and it's just really handy to have some water on the top and to make a cup of tea whenever you want one. So yeah, it's pretty good. The only other thing I did look at also, ones that were a little bit higher that have an oven, and that is a really, really nice idea. It really is, and I thought hard about putting that in because I haven't got an oven inside the cabin. But the ones that I could afford to buy were made out of that really flimsy steel stuff, and they look not great and they just don't last very well. So I decided to go with this and just stick with, when I'm at the cabin, making simple food with a frying pan, either on my gas hob or on top of this. And I have got my oven in the summer kitchen. So that was my compromise. I'm happy I went with this. It's really solid, it lasts a lifetime. And yeah, I think it looks pretty beautiful. So today's test day, I've just been running the garden hose on the roof. It was supposed to rain today, and I really want to check and make sure that everything's, the silicone's set well and that there's no water infiltration. So I've just run the hose a bit. It doesn't seem to be anything exciting happening, so that's good. And now I am going to gently heat the stove. It's really windy, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to work with the smoke exiting. Well, let's cross our fingers, and if it does all go up in flames, at least I have got the garden hose handy, ready, connected. It's very exciting. It's the first time I've ever had a working fire in here. In fact, in the history of the cabin, it's never had a working fire. So far so good. It's actually really exciting that the cabin finally looks like my little Katie Builds logo with the roof and the chimney and the smoke coming out. So, yep, finally feels like it's a cabin. The other thing you should think about when you're installing a log burner is to have some sort of air inflow. I have got the window open, and you could easily add in the floor panel here an air intake, which is highly recommended. It's essential for the wood burner to work properly and not bring in cold air from the outside, which if it's functioning in the vacuum, it can suck in cold air from outside. So it's much better to have a small air intake. I'm so happy with how this has turned out. First of all, the log burner cleaned up so well. I highly recommend, if you're thinking about doing a project like this, that you do check out some second-hand equipment, because I feel like I've got much better quality than had I just bought new for the same budget. The other thing I'm really happy about is it's working really well. So the smoke's being drawn up really easily out of the space. Even when I open the door, there's not too much smoke coming out into the room, which is really important in a small space. It seems to be burning cleanly, or not really much tarnish coming on the glass at the front. The other thing that I was worried about was that it would be too big for the space, but what I'm finding, because there's such a mass of metal in the construction, that actually the heating process is quite gentle, and then if you just put a log in occasionally, it stabilises, and then it cools down very gently over quite an extended period of time. The other thing that is really so lovely is the crackling sound of the wood, and the fact it feels really cosy in here, and it just feels fantastic to have got this far. This is not the end of the cabin build process. What needs to happen next is a massive deep clean in here with all of the building work that's been going on. There's dust everywhere. Now that the final freeze of the year has probably been and gone, I can connect the water to the cabin and get the kitchen working, the bathroom working. All of it was drained down for the winter period because I didn't really have any proper heating in here. We're going to be going into the drainage system outside the cabin. I've got a guy coming that's going to put a septic tank and connect up the summer kitchen and connect up the cabin to that. And with that, I'll be doing a whole load of landscaping outside. There's a few trees that have fallen down as well with all the snow. I've also got a really nice project for this summer, which is going to be an outdoor project, and I look forward to sharing all of that with you. I really hope that you would consider subscribing to this channel and clicking on the bell to get an update for my next video, which will probably be out in another month or so. And I look forward to seeing you here again at the cabin really, really soon.